wherever you go, whatever they get into. From chill time to everyday adventures, protect your dog from parasites with Credelio Quattro. For full safety information, side effects, and warnings, visit CredelioQuattroLabel.com. Consult your vet or call 1-888-545-5973. Ask your vet for Credelio Quattro and visit QuattroDog.com.
Edit audio.
Hello, everyone. I'm Robin Hopkins, and this is Well Adjusting, where I talk to people about life stuff, but not in an NPR way. It's more like we're at the bar, having cocktails, getting into your business sort of way.
It's giving drunk NPR.
Oh, and producer Steph is here too.
Hello.
Today we chat, well, should I switch, pivot, or quit? Hello, folks. Are you well? Are you adjusted? Well, the jury is out over here, but I'll probably be more adjusted after this interview. Today, Ahyiana, host of the podcast Switch, Pivot, or Quit, is joining us, and we are taking listener questions from folks who find themselves in a place. They're not sure what to do next, so Ahyiana, producer Steph, and I are jumping in with some thoughts. Now, spoiler alert, we can't promise we'll agree, but we will all passionately be telling folks what they should do next. As my dad used to say, that plus a nickel will get you into the movie. Yes, he was old. Movies were cheap back then. Okay, it's time for us to switch, pivot, but never quit. Here we go.
Hello, good people. My name is Ahyiana Angel, and I am the host of the Switch, Pivot, or Quit podcast, but I also wear many other hats as well. I'm also a podcast producer, and my background, I guess I'm a formally trained publicist in my former life. Yes. But these days, I mainly have my hands in podcasting and all things personal development, professional development, self-help, if we want to call it that. Yeah.
That's kind of how Steph and I approach what we're doing. We're like self-help, if you want to call it that.
Yeah.
I like without credentials.
Right.
Well, it's funny because for our listeners, we met at one of those like horrific, I call them horrific networking events that producer Steph dragged me to and I said yes to. But you were quite clearly the highlight of the evening. And as I do, as soon as I find someone who's good, I'm like, I just want to like stay there and talk to that person because I don't want to go talk to other bad people. So I feel like you were what we picked up that night. That was great.
I really enjoy that as well. But you're right. Like sometimes those mixers and networking things can be a little awkward, but you did a great job, Robin. You did
I think I'm pretty awkward and it took a lot out of me, but I recovered. But I do it in spite of the fear.
Mm-hmm.
But I want to say, so you host a podcast called Switch, Pivot, or Quit, which we at the Well Adjusting fam are all big fans of.
Thank
you and I started talking and stuff, and we were like, oh my God, we obviously have to bring you in. And we were immediately like, we've got to do our own version of Switch, Pivot, or Quit.
Yeah.
So we collected a bunch of listener questions, but before we get to them, what does that mean to you? Like Switch, Pivot, or Quit? How do you approach it? And what's the philosophy there?
It means a lot to me just in the sense that it's my story. It's my personal story. How I came to host the podcast is, like I said, I was a publicist in my former life, a sports entertainment publicist for a number of years. And I just got tired of it. And I started to really realize that work wasn't aligned with who I was. Now, it sounds very simple and woo-woo for me to say that right now, but it took me a long time to really like figure that out. And now I have the words for it. I can call it something. But before, I was just like, I don't like this. I'm not happy. I'm living for the weekend. I'm living for my vacations. Like, I hate this life. And I started really just feeling like this feels good on paper because I was working at this big, reputable, entertainment company, the National Basketball Association. It's like this role that people would love to have and be inside this organization. But after working there for, I would say about 4 years, I just started feeling this feeling that was like, I'm not content. I'm not happy. Is this life? Is this what I'm supposed to be doing? And I've always had more of an artistic side, but that was something that was, I guess you could say, stifled a little bit. And I had to sort of pull it back and hold it back and maybe make it just for fun, because it was like in my family, it was like, this is not going to make you money and you need to be
Yeah.
able to sustain yourself. Right. And so after a certain point of just realizing that I wasn't happy after I had checked all the boxes and did everything that was expected of me, you go to college, you get the good job, you're on your own, you're doing all the things, right?
Especially the name brand job, the one that like
Exactly.
on paper looks really good.
Yeah, yeah. I was just like, okay, now what? And I just realized, okay, now you have to do what works best for you.
Yeah.
And so I made this whole I just flipped my life upside down on its head completely. I started writing a book on my nights and weekends. I quit the job. I ended up getting the book published about 4 months later under a
Yeah, you
Simon& and
did.
Schuster imprint. Yeah, and you know what? I was
Woo!
so delulu before I knew I was delulu. People were like, "Oh, you can, like, self-publish. That's the thing." And I was like, "I'm not doing that." Every publisher is gonna have to tell me no, because I'm not doing that. Like, I wanna be published, traditionally published.
Yeah.
So delulu enough, it worked out. I guess it was the secret. I don't know, but I got published. I manifested it, and I left New York and I went to London for a few months, and I rented a flat there. Had some slightly weird roommates and all the things, but got to travel around and just really enjoy life again and feel like refreshed. And so when I came back, I did this book tour and people were asking me like, how did you do this? And I started to really realize so many more people were not happy with their day to day, but people just weren't talking
Mhm.
about it then. And so
Mhm.
I said, you know what? I think I need to have more of these conversations and invite people in for these conversations, because people are silently like suffering. And so that is how the Switch Pivot or Quit podcast came about.
First of all, I love that on like every level imaginable. And that, like, as a girl who has a book in the drawer that nobody has traditionally published, it's like that's no small thing what you were able to accomplish in such a short period of time. But
Yeah.
I want to pivot a little bit here. So we had thanks. You saw what I did there. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks.
I
Try the
did.
veal.
Go
Tip your
you.
bartenders. So before we lead into questions, can you, like, as the authority on switch pivoting and quitting, can you define those two and separate them?
Yeah. So it's so funny. When I first started the podcast, I really wanted to stay away from defining each element individually and collectively looking at it like, I'm calling it a switch, pivot, or quit because you are in a season of change.
Mm,
And whether you're embracing that change or not is going to be the big question, right? But it's a season of change. It's you saying, I am no longer content with where I am and something else has to give and I have to do something different. A pivot is something that is similar to what you're already doing, right? So when I was getting fed up with my day to day, I immediately did what most people do. I started looking for other types of roles that would be in the same wheelhouse that would allow me to directly use the skill sets that I had and go over to another company and just do the same type of work, but maybe under a different brand name. So that's what I would consider like a pivot,
okay.
something that feels like it's in your wheelhouse already. Now, what I would consider a switch is what I really did, right? I quit and I switched. I just did a whole nother career path. I went a whole nother direction. I sought out new skills. I took a lot of time to take classes and read books
Mhm.
and really try to understand myself and what I wanted and what I could potentially be good at. And so with that, it came an opportunity to see things that I hadn't really seen before and to allow myself to experience things I hadn't experienced before. And I signed up for writing classes. Once I sat on, hey, I really want to take this book idea and write this book, I went out and it was a fiction book. And so I had to learn dialogue and creative writing in
Oh,
a different way and all
Jesus.
of this stuff, right? So I
Yeah.
started taking classes and just started really immersing myself in the space and learning in a way that I hadn't before so that I can obtain a new skill set. And so to me, that's what I would consider a switch, is like you just doing something completely different, what you're not known for, basically.
That's perfect. And I think let's go right to our first question and see what we can do. And
Okay.
keep in mind that producer Steph and I still don't have any qualifications. So take our advice with a grain of salt.
Okay, we're starting with Raven.
I really want to pursue a deep romantic relationship, but keep getting stuck with fuckboys in Brooklyn. I also really hate dating apps and have had no luck there. Should I take a break from dating since the one for me will come into my life when I least expect it, or should I take even more action?
Ooh, this is a good one. We're starting off
Mm,
the juicy. It's
juicy,
got the word
yeah.
fuckboys in it. Like I'm in.
Okay. So, having been down this road myself, oh my gosh, this just feels like it is speaking to me. I think it's okay to do a mix, right? To do a mix of removing yourself for a minute because sometimes you just need a break. You need a breather. You're not going to be any good to them or to yourself if you have sort of like these hangups and these ideas already. Oh, I'm just meeting the fuck boys. So you're going to automatically put fuck boy energy on somebody who might not even be a fuck boy, right? Because you need to separate yourself, right? So don't put fuck boy energy on everybody. Just back up for a second. Back up for a second, take a beat, right? And then just ask yourself like, okay, what energy am I giving off? Right?
Mm,
Because maybe I'm giving off fuck girl energy. I don't
mm.
know. But like maybe start to talk to some of your people and see like what are the gaps and holes that maybe I'm not seeing? Am I being too easygoing? Am I being like a pushover in certain instances? Like maybe give them some of your scenario, some of your friends that are in successful relationships, give them some of the scenarios that you've been in, tell them how you handled it and ask them how they would handle it. So that you could do a little bit of self-reflection and see, and kind of gain some tools maybe to see like what can I do differently here? And then I would say once you decide to get back on the scene, be intentional about the ways that you're showing up. Maybe the apps aren't for you, right? Maybe it's a nice hotel bar with a classy man waiting there for you. Maybe it's an environment that you need to put yourself in where you can find like-minded people. Maybe it's a conference. Who knows what it is, but maybe it's
Mm.
just you being in a space that invites itself to have more people that are similar to you who you could find a connection with. That's what I would say.
I love this because the pivot and the switch are becoming even more clear because the pivot is almost like a reframe in this instance of like
Mhm.
how you're approaching it. I think also, producer Steph, we should just let Ahyiana go first every time. And then all we have to do is go, what she said. And this is going to be the easiest
Totally.
podcast ever. This feels like this person needs a reframe all around, like how they're approaching, who they're meeting, if they're open. I always think about, I'd be like, no one ever just like comes up and hugs me. And then I was like, because I couldn't have been this at this time, I could not have been less physically like telling people to get away from me. Like
Mm.
I mean, like I probably my
Like
whole
a fence,
posture.
a barbed wire
Yeah,
fence around
yeah.
you at all
And then I'd
times.
be like, why doesn't anybody hug me? And I'm like, of course they're fucking hugging you. You're punching people when they get in your like anywhere near you. So it's like I do think there's perhaps something to look at there. So I like the pivot on this one.
Yeah, it's the unspoken things, right?
Yeah, I think we're all in on pivot. Next question.
Hi, Robin. Longtime listener, first time caller here. I have a question about navigating a job search. And I work in the media and entertainment space. I've been working kind of freelance, but I'm looking for more of a full-time staff gig. I met with a headhunter, but he gave me this advice and I can't tell if it's helpful or not. He was very narrow about what you are looking for. Like you have to be really focused and you have to pick like one thing and just really go for that job, that type of job. My question is, there are so few jobs now and you have to be open to different types of jobs within that industry. How focused do you really have to be with your resume and your LinkedIn page? And, do you have to kind of parallel path and have a few different resumes that are tailored to different types of jobs within your industry? I want to be really specific, but also I don't want to box myself in and go after jobs that don't exist or there aren't very many of them. Thanks. Sorry, this is long.
I'm having a very hard reaction, immediate reaction to this one. So I'm going to go first. I want this person to quit the recruiter. I want them to quit the recruiter. And I don't know if that's the right answer. Now, I'm happy to be argued with on this. And the reason that I say this, though, is because this reminds me of I took a writing class once. And the guy who was leading the class was like, listen, what you need to be doing is you need to be researching the newspapers, seeing what's hot right now. And then you need to be writing your scripts for that. And I thought, I don't want to stay in this class because I think that's the worst advice you can give someone is to try to chase zeitgeist. this person to me sounds like they're multifaceted in terms of what that they want to go after and what they want to do. And I think that as long as your CV and your LinkedIn profile don't look like a mess, and as long as you can back up the narrative, like your personal narrative to whomever you're talking to, I feel like I've done multitudes of things. And for the first time in my life, they're all coming together. It allows me to do what I'm doing now. So I don't like it. I say quit, but I'm okay to be argued with.
My only pushback on that comparison is that they
Look
said
at
that
Steph
they
jumping
want
right in and arguing with me, Ayana.
I love
that
it.
they
Let's
said they
go.
wanted a full-time, like,
Yeah.
stable gig.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you could be having a meeting with the different people in the areas and you have 4 resumes. Why not?
You could, I think that the way,
Everyone's disagreeing with me.
well, no, I'm agreeing with, so I was nodding my head, right? Feverishly. I'm agreeing with a lot of what you were saying, but I think the only thing that I would add to it too is that you have to be able to tell the story yourself, though. You have to create the thread. You can't leave other people to figure out the pieces and why you're the perfect person for that job. So yes, you could have multiple CVs, right? But those multiple CVs, you have to even have your mind wrapped around, okay, how do I make this experience and that experience and that experience all lead up to me being the perfect candidate for this job? So maybe to lessen the confusion for yourself, you have 2 different tracks that you pick or 2 different expertise lanes that you want to highlight for yourself, and then just go after things in those 2 areas. The reason I could see this career coach giving this advice is because this person could have come to the table feeling all over the place. If I came to you and I was saying, I want to do this and I want to do that, but I'm really good at this, but I can't find a job, a full-time job, as producer Steph pointed out, I can't find a full-time job doing this. And so maybe I could be willing to do that. You know, someone's going to be like, wait, you're all over the place. Being in the media.
Too.
Exactly. Being in the media landscape and understanding how things are right now, I really get it when you're saying, I want to find something full-time. And I would offer to you, maybe you find something contract that has the opportunity to turn into full-time, and a really solid contract gig that allows you to have like medical and dental and all of those things, a lot of the perks of being full-time. Maybe that's going to require you looking in some places that aren't traditional for you. There's a lot of startup companies and venture capital companies that are now doing things that you would not expect them to be doing. They're producing video, they're producing audio, they have whole media teams and things, right? I did a contract from 2023 to this year, 2025, at LinkedIn. And I was on contract being a podcast producer, and I was a producer of sponsorships, right? That is not something that I seen for myself or whatever, but someone brought it to me and who was working there. And I was like, no, that's not for me. But then I read the job description. I was like, actually, I think this is perfect for me. So it may come up in an unconventional way that you didn't really expect, but you have to know your expertise and know how to tell the story of your expertise so that people can really consider you.
100%. That's the narrative. You got to be able to, you have to know your narrative for sure.
Robin, I don't remember what you always said, but you always said something about like have your own like elevator pitch or like have your own like one-liner or something. And I used to resist that so hard because I felt like I was like pigeonholing myself or like bragging about myself depending on who I was talking to. And then now the more I've done it, I'm like, I do this, this, and this. And then I just like add in something fun if they're from a different world outside of that. And it's just like such good practice for like learning how to like pivot your pitch about yourself to be more like appealing to the people you're talking about to.
Yeah.
Love it. Good luck out there, friend. Good luck out there.
Good luck. This is Sarah.
Hi. So how do you go about moving to a different area of business that you're in? I currently work in a creative role, and I feel like I would be better suited doing something that's a bit more logistical. Well, that's what I'm finding really interesting. And I don't know how to get over to that area of the business or what I need to do to put myself forward for that.
It's funny. This is usually the other way around. It's usually people are in logistics and want to go to creative. I feel like in some ways this would probably be easier. Who's going first?
I just want to say that this sounds like a fear-based question rather than, I mean, obviously there's like the logistics behind moving towards a more logistical based career. But I think it sounds like a fear of making the switch or
Mhm.
the quit. I don't know.
Mhm.
Which one would it be then?
This
It's
is
a
expert.
this is a
it's a quit, right? You would it's a switch and a quit because
switch quit.
potentially, yeah, if you're staying within the company, you might think of it more as a switch, right? But if
Mhm.
you're going to leave this company and this role to accept something that would be more in line with what you really want to be doing, you're definitely going to be quitting something full stop in order
Yeah.
to bring in something new. But I would say, I think that I agree with you, producer Steph. It's like there's some fear there, right? Because I think there's some things that innately you know to do, but you're not doing them because of whatever the fear is, right? I would say if you have a agreeable manager in your next one-on-one, start seeding that idea.
Yes.
Let them give you an opportunity to do some stretch projects in what you're already doing that can really show that you can handle the logistics and maybe the project management of things so that you can then start building your resume in that direction. Also, at your current company, see if there are learning opportunities. See if they'll pay for some outside extended education courses or something of that nature. Even if they say, no, we don't cover that kind of stuff, just maybe see if they will pay for some like LinkedIn Learning or some Coursera courses, like get a project management certification or something. I did that. That's why it's top of mind for me. But like, and I knew that it was something I was already doing anyway, right? And I was like, why not get this certification? I've been a project manager my whole career. I just didn't know it, right?
Yeah.
It's probably the same for our caller. You've probably been a project manager or dealing in logistics. That's how you know that you would gravitate to it because you've already touched some forms of it. So you just have to get past that fear of what are people going to say or being told no about something or not being good at something in the beginning. You're probably not going to be good at this to start with because it's not your wheelhouse, right? You've been doing something else. So give yourself that space and that room to be able to learn. And then the last thing that I would say is see if there are some people within your company because it sounded like you said you wanted to move within your company. Like maybe you already know of a department that's operating in this space and know of some people and you're looking at them thinking, I want to do what they do, but you haven't taken, I don't know, we're guessing, right? But it sounds like you haven't taken the opportunity to engage yourself with them. And maybe that's what you do. Engage yourself with them, set up some meetings. If they seem really cool, then start setting up one-on-ones with them, like maybe monthly, because you want to tell them, clue them into what you're trying to do. So then when they have something available that may be entry level, you have to also remember you might have to start from scratch too. Then you can say, hey, consider me. Or maybe they'll say, do you want to be considered for this? So there's ways to go about this. You're just going to have to accept that change is going to be a little bit uncomfortable, but you're just going to have to push yourself to do it if this is what you really want.
Yeah, especially like internally, this is like one of those ones where staying put might actually be a good idea because I'm making the assumption also that they already love you and they know that you make good work because I mean, obviously you do. I think it's easier to be like, and also not everybody wants to do the logistics. People are happy to hand a lot of that stuff off. So I bet if you just speak up and ask, they'll be like, oh my God, I'd love to have you take on this side of things. You know, and I think like maybe shadowing some people in that field, like, you know, like production management type people and shadowing and just being like, how would you make this transition? What would you highlight? And, you know, and looking for stuff like you do. I do agree that you may have to step back a bit, but, you know, maybe not. You know, it's you never know till you ask. Like, I was an assistant at VH1 and I just went into my boss and I was like, I really feel like I could write on some of our award shows. And he was like, no, I was writing and doing other things on the side, of course. And he was just like, okay. And he put me on a show. And then I did a whole bunch of shows after that, you know, and if I had failed, they probably would have yanked me. But he was like, okay, great. Let's see what we can do to get you in there. Like, especially if you've got good relationships.
You don't know until you ask, right? And you put it out there.
Don't.
Yeah.
I love this one because it's like a quit, but it's not a full quit. You know, it's like quit what you're doing exactly, but you can stay where you are. That doesn't mean quit your job. That doesn't mean quit everything. It could just be like, you know, sprinkling in some more. I love that.
Hey folks, it's Robin. All right, so we are putting together a special holiday episode and we need your help. We want to hear your worst holiday stories, you know, the ones that today you laugh about them, but back then you were definitely crying. Or if you have an upcoming holiday situation that you're already dreading, you can tell us about that too, because we're going to take these questions and we're going to break them down, give a little bit of advice, and we're going to hopefully make you feel less alone and a little bit more amused. So send us your story. We would prefer it if you'd send us a voice memo because we love to hear you tell it, but you can write it out if that's easier for you. You can email us at hello@editodd.io, or you can DM me on the socials at RealRobHops. And do not worry, if you would rather stay anonymous, just let us know in the email, and that is totally fine. I think we got time for like one more question, so make it a good one, Steph. I know.
Okay, maybe two. Let's do this one because this is a surprise one. I haven't heard this one yet.
Hi, my name is Diani. So I'm currently living in an apartment in Brooklyn, and my rent is super affordable, but I don't love the space, and my roommates are fine, but can be messy at times. So I'm wondering if I should kind of switch my mindset to just kind of get used to it, even because my rent is worth it. Not paying that much rent is totally worth it. Or do I pivot and maybe look for someone to sublet my room while I look for somewhere else so I don't have to pay to break my lease? Or do I quit and just leave altogether and break my lease, find another place? And that's probably going to be more expensive, but I will probably be happier and feel more at home at.
Or do you become the roommate from hell, get them out, and then you get two roommates in that you love? Just saying. No, we can't do that.
I mean, that is an option.
Thank you for doing the research and already like formulating your own options.
I know. And
I love that.
And this is a tough one though, because anybody who's in New York, and maybe not everybody from outside of New York, we do just have to clarify that like rent and real estate it's like a part-time job in New York City. It's like trying to find a place, trying to find something that's affordable, that's maybe near a train, that's like, it's not easy. So this is, I think if you're not in New York, it may not be as hard of a question as you think it is.
Yeah. She sort of said what it is, though. She answered it at the end.
She did.
She already knows what she needs to do. She just wants to feel better about paying more money for a place maybe of her own or a better roommate situation. But I look at it like this. If you have it and if you can, hack it with paying more money, pay more money for your sanity, because your home should be like your sanctuary and your peace of mind. And I've had messy roommates before, and that is just not fun. That creates another level of stress in your life that you don't need, right? So if you can remove that level of stress, the money is worth it.
I would also add on to that. That you don't know, like, even though you know the market, you don't know what's out there. And you didn't know this situation existed before you found it. So staying in that situation is closing any door for any future situation that's better for you. Absolutely. I am a huge proponent of what, go ahead.
But don't move out of your apartment until you have another.
Oh, no, get it set up. But you answered your question.
But I agree with you, Robin. You might be holding yourself back from something better because you're so worried about holding on to this good savings. It's like you also have to think big, and you have to have an abundance mindset and know that, hey, if I want this bigger place or this more comfortable place that will give me peace of mind, that doesn't mean that you just sit back and do nothing. It means that maybe you may have a brilliant idea of a side hustle that you can do that's not going to be too taxing, and that'll give you extra money to be able to easily pay that rent, whatever, because we don't know what the circumstance is. She didn't say that she couldn't afford the larger place. I don't think I heard her say that. It was just kind of like, I have such a good deal.
I'm getting a deal.
Yeah. But like holding on to that money and getting this deal might not be worth what it's going to cost you. And like, what are you actually doing with that extra money? Like if you were saying, I want to stay here until I can afford to purchase my own place, stay there, suck it up for a year, or give yourself a timeline, whatever. But you didn't say that this money that you're saving is going to this great cause. So maybe the extra expense goes to the cause of your sanity.
Because it's like, how many times do we sit in jobs that we're just like, it's really bad out there, and we stay in situations, or we stay with partners or, spouses or whatever, like, because you're like, well, maybe it's like, I'd rather go with the unknown than stay in something that's definitely making me unhappy. Good luck.
One more. It's funny.
Okay, so I started dating a new person and my cat hates him. Like peeing on his stuff every time he comes over. It's very awkward and gross. It was kind of funny to begin with, but now I'm not sure if it's like a sign from my cat. Should I stop dating someone that my cat doesn't like? This has never happened before. Help.
Okay, that was worth it, Steph. That was worth it.
Kayla.
Oh, shit. That cat, man, that cat is like this. You can GFY. This is my person. You get out.
Basically.
I mean, I'm a big cat person. And it could, it could just be a transitional period. This is like if you've got like step kids, could just be a transitional period. They got to get to know each other. Unless you have red flags about this person, I would not let the cat be the red flag detector personally. But if you are a person who is a known overlooker of red flags, then by all means, listen to that cat.
The cat's trying to protect you.
It's doing something.
Wait, stop. Don't go there. No.
I'm going to say, if you're wondering if it's a sign.
It's a sign.
Might be a sign.
Ooh.
But you never know. Should we rapid fire the last 4?
Okay.
Sure.
All right.
I've been seeing this therapist for 5 or 6 years, and these days I'm feeling like I'm not getting much out of it. Kind of bored. She's not challenging me anymore. And I'm not sure if I should just switch to maybe every other week or once a month, pivot to a different therapist who might have some new perspectives and help me in different ways, or just quit therapy altogether.
Pivot. No, in the terms that she put it, and that's why it's all subjective, right? The switch, pivot, or quit, like how you understand it, how you decide, whatever. But I would say pivot to another therapist. Don't quit therapy altogether. This person, maybe your time has just run its course.
I say pivot, but you have to have a conversation first with the therapist. Be brave.
I say also pivot, but in the way that you quit that therapist and go to the other.
Okay.
All right. Last one.
I'm in a situationship that's been going on for 11-ish months. Do I stick it out and just try to enjoy it for what it is? Or should I just quit and delete his number? Or do I go on a hunt for something more real?
Switch. Hunt for something more real. Because he's asking this question.
Yeah. So he wants something more real.
Seems like it.
Yeah.
But I'm always going to say, but with a conversation first.
Yeah.
I say... Oh, I don't know.
You're going to say do both? Like keep them on the side and find someone else? You are, aren't you, producer Steph?
I mean, depends on the rules of the situationship. But I say you can do 2 things at once. You can be looking
for... 2 things
for...
could be true.
You can be looking for love and still getting your... I was going to say so many expletives there, but I won't. Ahyiana?
I agree with both, actually, right? Have the conversation, find something more meaningful, but then also, like, if you can manage yourself within the keeping the person on the side, because they said they wanted to be on the side, then keep them on the side. But if it's going to get too complicated feelings wise, just cut it off, let it go.
Yeah, I like that.
Love it.
Okay, so for those of you may remember, a couple weeks ago, we talked about Steph and Robin Get Well doing the Pomodoro technique. So we did it, ish, and here's how it went.
Okay, here's my Pomodoro update for the last few days. I haven't been able to use it the last few days because I've had all this like large scale shit I had to do, like I got to be at the house or at an audition or whatever, and it's like I can't do an audition on Pomodoro time. But I will tell you, I do really like it. That's where I'm at today. Okay, I'm finding it really good. I struggle with a little of the nitpickiness of it, like setting up the little Pomodoros, and I'm such a... Are they called Pomodoros? I'm going to call them Pomodoros, the little units of time. And it's like, I get very much like, I tend to work one task at a time. So it's throwing me of trying to group which ones I'm supposed to be working on. And then like, what if I'm not quite done? Do I just add half a Pomodoro? Can you even do that? So that part's feeling a little rigid because it just felt like I was like in the military. Like I couldn't breathe, or like I felt like I was going to make a mistake, or I was getting neurotic. But today I'm feeling like it's really kind of nice for getting back into things. Like I normally sometimes my inbox gets really away from me. So I used like 2 Pomodoros. Such a weird thing. I used 2 to like just set myself up for the week. And I find that I'm a little more engaged. And I'm trying to figure out what to do on the breaks. I'm on a break right now. So like, I'm like, are you supposed to be working? Am I supposed to be stretching? Just makes me feel like I'm always optimizing my time. The one thing I will say though is I sent that little Pomodoro link thing that you sent me, the website, to my daughter, and she's been using it all weekend to study. And she's like, I love it. She's like, I forgot I used to do this. And she's being really like good about it. So anyway, that's a pretty big update.
Okay, so you will notice that there are only clips from me. Let's start there, Steph. Let's start there, shall we?
How shameful.
No. You should not be shamed.
I really like this technique. I didn't do it enough because I was away all last week and I was like off grid in the forest. I wasn't going to pull out a timer and start like, what am I going to do? Pomodoro technique, my relaxation? That's ridiculous.
By the way, you would have gotten some serious points if
and
you
know I would have, but I think that's the tricky thing is like it verges on.
Yeah, that's the thing is, so I found it to be, well, first of all, I do want to say this. I do want to say, I think this is a perfect opportunity to talk about the fact that like sometimes we have plans or like we want to do a thing. And I think the worst thing we could do is make ourselves feel bad about it.
Like I just did. Now I feel bad about making myself feel bad about the thing.
Well, how about you just release all of that? Because for real, I think that what I say to my kids about that is it's actually just not serving you. Like if you do that, you're not more likely, like my son's a golfer. And I'm like, if you beat the shit out of yourself because you had a bad drive, you're not more likely to make the next shot. You're more likely to continue tanking. So like just from a practical output standpoint, I think it's important to just be like, you know what? I missed the mark. I take a breath. I do my sabap technique and I start again.
Yeah, and I am excited about the Pomodoro technique. I still don't understand why it's a tomato, but
I don't have any idea about the tomato either.
Unsure about that, but I do like the technique and I do want to do it, and I don't want to be hard on myself for not doing it last week because I don't think last week was the right time. So
yeah,
go me for not doing it, and I will do it next week.
only on well adjusting do you get high five for not actually doing something,
and only me because I feel like I'm hyper doing all the things way too often.
So I did, and I will say you heard it in my clips. Like it did bring out a little bit of like I gotta fucking do this right. I gotta do this exactly right. It's like, okay, it said 5 minutes. And I came up upon like, I might've been like in a groove and I didn't want to take the break. And then I got real up in my head about what is the break? Is it a break if I just lay on the bed for 5 minutes? Is it a break if I pee? That doesn't feel like a break. It just feels like I peed. And it's like, so I got like really in my head about doing things right or wrong. And I think for me, the real learning, the biggest learning coming out of the Pomodoro technique was one, it does work for my style. Like it like that kind of setup of like, I was kind of learning how to make it my own, like the way I was grouping things, the little Pomodoros and stuff and like how it works throughout my day. But that leads into the second big learning, which is that like, it's okay to make it your own. Like, I don't think everything needs to be so rigid all the time, which I'm rigid. As fuck, I can say it. I'm rigid. Welcome to, my name is Robin.
Rigid.
I am rigid.
Oh, rigid Robin.
I have been not rigid for 127 days, and I'm counting days on rigidity.
It's like, when you go to the movies and they're like, don't be a noisy Nancy. Shut the fuck up in the movie. It's like, don't be a rigid Robin.
Can we get t-shirts?
Take a 6-minute break instead of 5.
With rigid Robin and off the grid stuff.
Yes.
That's our t-shirts for this week. But I did start, once I freed myself up from that, I started making it my own. And I found it to be like that first week I did it, I didn't work on Friday. Like I had my shit so together by Thursday that I was like, I went to the fucking movies. Didn't happen the next week, but I felt like it was a very good tool that I added to my toolbox.
I do too. It's navigating, I think, for both of us, because I feel rigid with it too, and it's trying to like understand when am I being too much, maybe.
Yeah.
But I also think that's probably good because it's like a technique that kind of forces you to be like, okay, are you being rigid? Like, check in with yourself. Are you being
doing
like an
some work?
asshole, or are you gonna just like maybe sabop and take a 7-minute break because you have to pee and get water and take a break?
All right. Well, we've Pomodoro'd it. Let's talk about what's up next, producer Steph. I'm going to just outright propose it. We kind of already said what we're going to do.
Yes.
1 act of courage each day. Yeah.
Yes.
Micro act of courage. I'm genuinely scared for this one. Like my ears are up. I've got like shoulder earrings right now.
I feel like I have a lot of practice in being courageous, but
You do.
I feel like I also was going to slap at the rest of these and I haven't. So we'll see. We'll see what happens.
So join us, folks, for 2 weeks. Every day, a micro act of courage.
How exciting.
For more Robin, and you may need that. You probably don't need it, but like if you do, you can follow me at Real Rob Hops on all the platforms, all the socials, as the kids today say. Well Adjusting is an Edit Audio original series. It's exec produced by Steph Colburn and Robin Hopkins. Our producer is Maria Passingham, and our production manager is Kathleen Specker. This episode was edited by Megan Hayward. Thank you to the entire Edit Audio team and to you for listening. Oh, hey, before you take out those AirPods, this show is just for entertainment. If you are in need of help, please, please, please reach out to a professional. Go ahead and get that help. You deserve it.